Do you ever feel stuck in life, career, or mindset? Imagine hitting a reset button, unlocking mental armor so strong that setbacks no longer define you. What if I told you that reinventing yourself isn't about starting from scratch, but about unlocking a version of you that's already unstoppable? That's the power of The Reinvention Formula by Craig Siegel, a book that doesn't just motivate you, but gives you the exact blueprint to upgrade your mindset and transform your life. This isn't another self-help cliche. Siegel, a former Wall Street guy who hit rock bottom and rebuilt himself into a mindset coach and TEDx speaker, shares the bulletproof strategies he used to turn pain into power. And today, I'm breaking down the 10 game-changing lessons that'll help you do the same. Look, you have two choices right now. You can keep doing what you've always done and hope that somehow, magically, your life will change on its own. Or you can take the next 20 minutes to understand the exact system that could completely transform your next 12 months. The Reinvention Formula isn't just a book. It's your guide to building a bulletproof mindset that thrives under pressure, turns obstacles into opportunities, and creates the kind of life that makes other people ask, "How did you do that?" The person you could become is waiting for you. The life you actually want is possible. The only question is, are you ready to upgrade from who you are to who you're meant to be? Remember, you're not stuck. You're just using an outdated operating system. It's time for an upgrade. The Reinvention Formula is your roadmap. Your transformation starts now. 1. Embrace identity flexibility over fixed self-concept. Your identity is not carved in stone, but is a fluid, evolving construct that you can consciously reshape. The bulletproof mindset begins with releasing attachment to limiting self-definitions and embracing the possibility of becoming whoever you choose to be. Most people trap themselves in outdated versions of who they think they are, often based on past failures, societal labels, or childhood conditioning. The reinvention process requires recognizing that your current identity is simply a collection of thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors that can be updated like software. This doesn't mean being fake or inauthentic, but rather expanding your authentic self beyond artificial constraints. For example, Sarah, a 45-year-old accountant, always identified as not a creative person because a teacher once criticized her art in elementary school. When she decided to reinvent herself, she challenged this belief by taking a pottery class. Within 2 years, she had opened her own ceramic studio while maintaining her accounting practice part-time. Her willingness to let go of the non-creative identity allowed her to discover a passion that transformed her life and provided additional income streams. 2. Develop antifragile resilience through controlled exposure. True strength comes not from avoiding challenges, but from systematically exposing yourself to manageable difficulties that make you stronger. Like muscles that grow under resistance, your psychological resilience increases when you deliberately face and overcome obstacles. Antifragility goes beyond mere resilience. It's the ability to actually benefit from stressors and challenges. This involves progressively exposing yourself to uncomfortable situations, rejection, criticism, and uncertainty in controlled doses. Each exposure builds your tolerance and confidence, creating a bulletproof mindset that thrives under pressure rather than merely surviving it. For example, Marcus, a software developer with social anxiety, decided to build his antifragile resilience by committing to one uncomfortable social interaction daily. He started with asking for directions from strangers, progressed to striking up conversations in coffee shops, and eventually began public speaking at tech meetups. After 6 months, not only had his anxiety decreased, but he had built a network that led to his dream job at a startup. The controlled exposure transformed his greatest weakness into a competitive advantage. 3. Master the art of strategic quitting. Knowing when and how to quit strategically is as important as knowing when to persist. The bulletproof mindset involves making calculated decisions about what to abandon in order to free up resources for more promising opportunities. Society often glorifies persistence without nuance, but successful reinvention requires the wisdom to distinguish between temporary setbacks and fundamental misalignments. Strategic quitting involves regularly auditing your commitments, relationships, and pursuits to ensure they align with your evolving vision. This isn't about giving up at the first sign of difficulty, but about recognizing sunk cost fallacies and opportunity costs that keep you trapped in suboptimal situations. For example, Jennifer spent 5 years climbing the corporate ladder in marketing, despite feeling increasingly drained and unfulfilled. Instead of persisting out of obligation, she strategically quit her 6-figure job after building a freelance writing business to 60% of her corporate income. The decision to quit strategically, with preparation and planning, allowed her to triple her income within 2 years while working from different countries as a digital nomad. Her strategic quit became the foundation for unprecedented freedom and success. 4. Cultivate selective ignorance and information hygiene. In an information-saturated world, your ability to filter and ignore irrelevant information is crucial for mental clarity and focused progress. The Bulletproof mindset requires deliberate curation of what you allow into your consciousness. Most people consume information indiscriminately, leading to decision paralysis, anxiety, and scattered focus. Selective ignorance involves consciously choosing what news, opinions, and data streams deserve your attention based on their relevance to your goals and well-being. This includes limiting exposure to negative news cycles, toxic social media content, and well-meaning but misguided advice from people who haven't achieved what you're pursuing. For example, David, an entrepreneur launching his first business, was overwhelmed by conflicting advice from family, friends, and online gurus. He implemented information hygiene by unfollowing all business advice accounts except 3 trusted mentors, checking news only once weekly, and politely declining advice from people who hadn't built successful businesses themselves. This selective ignorance reduced his anxiety by 70% and allowed him to focus on execution rather than endless research, leading to his first profitable month within 3 months of implementing these boundaries. 5. Build systems that make success inevitable. Willpower is unreliable. Systems are bulletproof. Create environmental and procedural frameworks that automatically guide you toward your desired outcomes, regardless of momentary motivation levels. The Bulletproof mindset relies on engineering your environment and routines so that good decisions become the path of least resistance. This involves designing your physical space, daily rhythms, and decision-making processes to support your goals automatically. Systems thinking recognizes that behavior is largely context-dependent, so changing the context changes the behavior without requiring constant mental effort. For example, Lisa wanted to write a book but struggled with consistency after her demanding job as a nurse. She built a system by setting up a dedicated writing corner in her bedroom, laying out her laptop and notes each night, and committing to writing for just 15 minutes each morning before checking her phone. She also installed website blockers during her writing time and joined an online accountability group. This system made writing the easiest option each morning, and she completed her 200-page book within 10 months without relying on motivation or willpower. 6. Practice premeditated gratitude and abundance thinking. Your mindset about scarcity versus abundance fundamentally shapes your decisions and opportunities. The Bulletproof mindset actively cultivates a sense of gratitude and abundance that opens doors and attracts resources. Premeditated gratitude goes beyond casual thankfulness. It's a deliberate practice of recognizing and appreciating current resources, relationships, and opportunities before they're lost. This practice rewires your brain to notice abundance rather than scarcity, leading to more confident decision-making and increased willingness to take calculated risks. Abundance thinking doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but rather approaching problems with the assumption that solutions and resources exist. For example, Robert, a struggling freelance graphic designer, practiced premeditated gratitude by writing down 3 specific things he was grateful for each morning, including resources he took for granted like his computer, internet access, and design skills. This practice helped him realize he had more advantages than he'd recognized. His shifted perspective led him to confidently raise his rates by 50%, pitch to bigger clients, and eventually land a contract with a major tech company. The abundance mindset he cultivated through gratitude practice directly translated to increased income and better opportunities. 7. Implement micro-reinventions for sustainable change. Massive transformations happen through consistent small changes rather than dramatic overhauls. The Bulletproof mindset embraces incremental improvement that compounds over time. Most reinvention attempts fail because they try to change too much too quickly, overwhelming the brain's capacity for adaptation. Micro-reinventions involve making tiny, sustainable changes that gradually shift your identity and capabilities. These small changes are easier to maintain and less likely to trigger resistance from your nervous system, yet they compound into significant transformations over months and years. For example, Tom wanted to transform from a sedentary office worker into someone who prioritized health and fitness. Instead of joining an expensive gym with unrealistic workout commitments, he started with micro-reinventions, taking the stairs instead of elevators, doing 5 push-ups after each bathroom break, and parking farther away from building entrances. These tiny changes were so easy they felt almost silly, but they gradually shifted his identity from not a fitness person to someone who naturally incorporated movement throughout the day. After 6 months, he naturally progressed to regular gym workouts and lost 35 pounds without ever feeling like he was forcing dramatic lifestyle changes. 8. Develop strategic social curation and network upgrading. Your social environment significantly influences your thoughts, beliefs, and possibilities. The Bulletproof mindset requires intentionally curating relationships that support your growth rather than limiting it. Most people underestimate how much their social circle shapes their reality and possibilities. Strategic social curation involves auditing your relationships and gradually spending more time with people who inspire, challenge, and support your growth while reducing time with those who drain your energy or reinforce limiting beliefs. This doesn't mean being cold or manipulative, but rather being intentional about who gets access to your time and mental space. For example, Maria, a teacher who dreamed of starting her own educational consulting business, realized her social circle consisted mainly of other teachers who complained about the system but never took action to change their situations. She strategically joined entrepreneur meetups, online communities for education consultants, and began having coffee with successful business owners in her area. While maintaining friendships with supportive colleagues, she gradually spent more time with people who normalized business ownership and risk-taking. Within 18 months, the encouragement, connections, and mindset shifts from her upgraded network helped her successfully launch her consulting practice, which now generates more income than her teaching salary. 9. Master emotional alchemy and energy management. Your emotions are information and energy that can be transformed into fuel for growth rather than obstacles to overcome. The Bulletproof mindset includes sophisticated emotional intelligence and energy optimization. Emotional alchemy is the practice of transforming challenging emotions like fear, anger, or frustration into productive energy for change and growth. Rather than suppressing or being overwhelmed by difficult emotions, you learn to decode their messages and channel their energy constructively. This includes understanding your natural energy rhythms, protecting your emotional energy from energy vampires, and using emotional intensity as rocket fuel for transformation. For example, Alex, a marketing professional dealing with a toxic work environment, initially felt overwhelmed by anger and frustration toward his micromanaging boss. Instead of quitting impulsively or suffering in silence, he practiced emotional alchemy by channeling that frustrated energy into building his freelance marketing business after work. The anger became motivation to prove his capabilities, the frustration fueled late-night learning sessions, and the desire to escape drove him to take action. Within 14 months, he had built enough freelance income to quit confidently, and his former frustration had been transformed into the foundation of a 6-figure independent business. 10. Create your personal reinvention operating system. Sustainable transformation requires a personalized framework that integrates all aspects of change into a coherent system you can follow regardless of external circumstances. Your personal reinvention operating system is a customized approach that combines goal setting, habit formation, decision-making frameworks, and progress tracking into a unified methodology. This system becomes your reliable guide through uncertainty and change, providing structure and direction when motivation fluctuates. It includes regular review cycles, adjustment mechanisms, and fail-safes that keep you moving forward even when individual tactics need modification. For example, Jessica, a single mother working 2 jobs while pursuing a nursing degree, created her personal reinvention operating system that included weekly planning sessions every Sunday, daily 5-minute morning intention setting, monthly progress reviews, and quarterly goal adjustments. Her system accounted for her limited time and energy by prioritizing high-impact activities and building in flexibility for unexpected challenges. When her childcare situation changed and one of her jobs ended, her operating system helped her quickly pivot, apply for scholarships, and find a part-time position that better supported her studies. Rather than derailing her goals, the system helped her adapt and ultimately graduate with honors while building an emergency fund she never thought possible as a single parent. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from the reinvention formula? It's this. Reinvention isn't about starting over, it's about stepping into the life you've always wanted, but were too afraid to claim. Craig Siegel's book isn't just a guide. It's a wake-up call to stop settling and start upgrading your mindset, your choices, and your future. 3 powerful lessons to remember. 1. Your mindset is your greatest asset. A bulletproof mindset isn't about being fearless. It's about acting despite fear. Siegel teaches you to replace limiting beliefs, "I'm not ready," with empowering ones, "I'll figure it out." Real-life example? That corporate banker who became a life coach by reframing her risk as purpose. 2. Action trumps perfection. Clarity comes from doing, not overthinking. Siegel's mantra? The riskiest move is playing it safe. Think of the artist who started selling prints before feeling ready and now runs a 6-figure business. 3. Reinvention is a lifelong journey. This isn't a one-time fix. It's about continuous growth. Siegel's own story, from Wall Street to TEDx, proves that every setback is a setup for a comeback. His eulogy exercise forces you to ask, will I regret not trying? Right now, you're standing at a crossroads. Path number 1, you close this video, maybe save it to watch later, and go back to your regular routine. You keep hoping that somehow, things will magically improve without you changing anything fundamental about how you think or act. Path number 2, you decide that today is the day your real transformation begins. You pick just one of these 10 principles and commit to implementing it this week. Maybe it's practicing selective ignorance by unfollowing accounts that drain your energy. Maybe it's building your first system to make a desired behavior inevitable. Maybe it's having one uncomfortable conversation to start upgrading your network. The choice is yours, but here's what I know. Everyone who has created an extraordinary life chose path number 2. They decided to become the architect of their own transformation rather than hoping change would happen to them. The reinvention formula is your roadmap. Your transformation starts now. Remember, you're not stuck. You're just using an outdated operating system. It's time for an upgrade. If this video has sparked something in you, here's what I want you to do right now. Hit that like button if you're ready to start your transformation journey. Subscribe and ring the notification bell because I'm going to be sharing more advanced strategies, real success stories, and answering your specific questions about implementing these principles. Most importantly, drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 10 principles resonates most with you, and what's the first small step you're going to take this week? I personally read every comment and often create follow-up videos based on your questions.